Hey, how you guys doing? It's producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to the Marvel Hacks. We are back, y'all. It's only been a month or so, maybe. We are at the age of apocalypse. We're going to do Amazing X-Men number 2 and Astonishing X-Men number 2. We promised to maybe not take off another month, but I can't really guarantee it. On the line is Brother Beavis. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's up? I think we're good now. In like a month, like if you weren't following your podcast, you might have just listened to the last one. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
we might have snuck this one by.
Yeah,
Like
or
if
you
you
have,
if you waited 7 years for part one,
yeah.
what's a month for part two?
Exactly. Or you might be like me, where you have like a bunch of podcasts loaded on your iPhone or whatever you listen to it on. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, that's there too. I just start scrolling through it. It might be buried at the bottom, and
Yeah,
it just populated at the top as you start to go through all the podcasts that you have on your Zoom. No, wait.
this will be like a Netflix show. Like, yeah, I'll wait till they get renewed before I watch this season because I'm
Whoa,
trying to
boy.
start watching this and then have never
Uh,
finished the story. So.
Funny you should say that because that's going to actually come up today. So yeah, we'll get started here momentarily. But yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. And again, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can follow along in this whole process. But here we go. All right. So what are we going to do tonight? Let's set the show. So Amazing and Astonishing X-Men. I put one there, or review of number 1, and then we'll go into number 2. And we're going to talk alternate timeline fandom. It's going to be one of the first topics to come up tonight, even before we get into the books. Now, Brother Beavis and I did not do a pregame meeting or a pregame show before this. And he really just touched on something that I am going to touch on and probably make a lot of complaints about here as we go through. It's very ironic. He and I, if you're watching the thing, we sometimes share a brain. So, yeah, that's the set for the show tonight. There's always another topic that I never let the guys know about, and it is the last slide tonight. So we'll get to that too. So let's do it. Again, Amazing and Astonishing X-Men are the books that we're going to do. We were just talking about, hey, man, you got to read all these other books to figure out what the hell's going on in this story. That's not happening, Brother Beavis, right?
Well, I like to read these things so you don't have to. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they get into this like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. It's like I didn't I didn't read like all your annuals and all this other crap to know what you're talking
Mm.
about. But no, there's a I think it's the X universe, and then it's like a two-parter that gives us a bridge story, and they fill in very few details and act like you know every single bit of it
Yeah.
in order to read this.
Yeah, I remember that time when Magneto and Apocalypse fought in the Tokyo Dome. 7 stars.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had no idea that happened. Yeah.
Double juice. Yeah. Brody came out and interfered. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
exactly. It's something else. And then for one of these books, man, again, it's Kubert rules, face
Hmm.
rules. I
Hmm.
mean, it's really bad tonight, to be honest with you. And we'll keep pointing it out. But man, we think about Kubert all the time, at least the Sons, and it's like, yeah, I remember them. And then you go back and look at this, it's like, man, it's not that it's bad. It's just it's such a distinctive. Like it's just such a distinctive like it's Rob Liefeld and feet, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like
You can't unsee it once you see it,
yeah, like once
and
you
you're seeing it right here. Like, look at Banshee and Iceman.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no real difference between
Yeah,
hell. Look at freaking Storm and Pietro.
yeah.
I mean, their
Well, the other
faces are
part is
essentially the
like,
same.
if you told me that was Dazzler, Polaris, or Dark Star, I would go, "Yep, I
Yep.
I could see that." Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. Yeah. So it'll come up, and then Joey Mad's the other artist, but we'll get to that too as we go through. All right, jumping back. How did we get here, y'all? All right, so we did X-Men Alpha, which explained what happened after Legion Quest, and Xavier is dead, and we have this new world. Bishop is essentially the only tether to the old world, and who remembers what it was supposed to be about. So in this new world, Apocalypse rules everything. That's why it's the Age of Apocalypse, Gadoli. And the X-Men are living in this world trying to survive it. And Bishop has convinced Magneto. He told on him in front of everybody, like, hey, this world is bullshit. It shouldn't exist. And you shouldn't be this way. And then Magneto has believed him and has come up with one of I think we deemed it, a Tyrion Lannister like plan on the last show of just absolutely complicated MacGuffin finding stuff to be able to turn this world around. And, parts of that to them going to stop these cullings that Magneto and his horsemen, Apocalypse and his horsemen are putting out. And that's really what it is. So we got two separate teams, both on MacGuffin missions for Magneto as the leader of the X-Men, armed with a CD-ROM, brother. It was the most dangerous weapon to stop all kinds of anything. A CD-ROM, man.
More like he had a VHS tape, and nobody has the player for it still.
My goodness gracious! Yeah.
So you think they had like a video game in mind when they made this? Because a lot of the X-Men video games were on some MacGuffin bullshit. Like you got to do this, then that, then this, then that to get to here. And they always had, I don't know if your familiarity was, but X-Men games loved like some reset the console to advance the game on some like spoiler on the back. Like, what the fuck is with so
I think we actually, and you and Big Hutch talked about this on like a side brother topic about the difficulty of X-Men video games back in the day.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, so they had this sorry one for Super Nintendo. They had like six X-Men in it. You had to go through 3 or 4 boards and then fight Apocalypse. But you had to reset the computer, and it had like this code on the back of the box, but the box was printed wrong. So the code, if you could figure out that there was some secret on the box to get to the last battle, then you could play it. But we were like trying to figure out like, wait, you have to do it with this combination. Does this person have to beat that? Whatever. And they brought that shit back for the Genesis version. After you get to there, after you get to the last battle, like they give you some hint about a reset, and you got to reset the console. And then like the most difficult game of all time, I think, is the Spider-Man and the X-Men versus arcade game. Yeah. Oof. Game is impossible.
Again, in my rewatching of 80s cartoons here in my latter years, everything was about selling toys to people. That's basically it. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a video game potential later on.
Yeah. And it's funny that we just played and beat that Avengers game. Like you could actually play and beat that, the 4-person side scroller in the X-Men arcade game, which was great and gave us Pride of the X-Men. You like lost all your energy to use your powers. You'd be like, oh, Colossus can like kill the whole board. Wait, where'd my health go? And I'm dead.
So, that's great.
X-Men games hard.
Yes, for sure. All right. Wait, so let's go. Here it is. And this is for YouTube, y'all. Can we talk about this alternative timeline fandom? So New York City Comic Con happened either last week or 2 weeks ago. Obviously a huge con, the East Coast, Comic Con essentially. And it was announced there that X-Men 97 was going to be back for season 2, which we already knew. And it'll come out sometime. The title was mid 2026, whatever the hell that is. And we're assuming June. So that's fine. So a full 2 years, because the first season started in March of 24. So a full 2 years for them to get back to starting this show. And then you start to think about now, and you kind of alluded to this about the podcast or whatever, like so many of these modern nerdly types of shows take these huge breaks. Last of Us just had season 2, like going to be 3 years before you see season 3. X-Men 97, the Stranger Things. Those kids are AARP things at this point. Like it's not even close. It's been like 5 years between the last season and this season. And so my question is, how do you think that would have affected our fandom if we had waited? Not necessarily when we were young kids, because we would have found something to do, but even in our young fandom, young adult, early tax paying, like how do you think that would have affected us if we had waited years in between the stuff that we had liked?
Well, the interesting thing I think is like ostensibly, like X-Men the animated series was targeting, teens, I guess, and grown-ass men who would still be doing a podcast this for long. But like you think about if it took them like 12 years to get out those 5 seasons, like think about how the audience evolves and like how like if you watched season 1 and liked it when you were 12, and you tried to watch season 5 when you were in your 20s, that shit wouldn't work. So I think that's part of it. But is it more like they came out with 7 different Scooby-Doos over the course of 10 years? Like, is it more like that? Would you have looked at it more like it's a new X-Men show, not like season 2? That's how I think it would have had to. That's how it would have been perceived. Yeah, but this idea of like it takes this long, but the quality is better or whatever. But would you rather have like 5 straight years of show, or would you rather see that over 15 years and have like the last year just suck because it's a half season, they can't afford to make them anymore or whatever?
But like you said, that the age does matter. My daughter was just saying, like, she was a freshman in high school the last time that there was a Stranger Things season, and she's in college right now. Your fandom can change over time. Additionally, at our box of age group or whatever, I don't remember what the hell happened back then. I have to go back and watch the entire season before that happened 3 years ago to be able to understand what I'm about to watch now. Like with everything that's on, with all the options that are there, with being tired and old, man, I ain't got time for that. Like,
that's what gets me real frustrated about shows like now, where there's a season and it ends with like too big of a cliffhanger. Like Fallout was one for me. Like, they resolved some things, but they left it completely open-ended. And I'm not talking about the difference between we can come back and make another season. I'm talking about, like, y'all didn't even finish the story. But like, to me, Alien Earth was a little bit like that. Like, that's the thing that bugs me. I feel like with the uncertainty, they really need to write this as like, okay, if this was the only season, what would we do? But let's try and not write ourselves out of a job. Let's leave something. But I don't know. There's a fine line, I think, because you wouldn't mind if like came back and it was just a different story. But you're right, to try and keep. Let me get that Easter egg from this show that came out 5 years ago that I barely paid attention to because I was burnt out on it already. No, you can do it, but not this like, edge of your seat cliffhanger. Wait till you see what we do next. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, and again, the characters they ate, like little Lady Mormont in season 1 of freaking of Last of Us was old Lady Mormont by the time you got to season 2.
Yeah, and they're doing work to try and keep these Stranger Things kids as kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have found something else. We grew up on, hey, a Star Wars movie takes 3 years to come out. Okay, but also we didn't have all the other things to suck away at our attention. So it was like, well, I can wait this 3 years because there's nothing else out there like that I could watch.
Maybe that's the difference.
There's plenty of stuff that could take your attention away from it. And as always, like us, like I take this back to wrestling. Like us watching wrestling at a certain point, you just fall off. Like you can't. Your attitudes, it's like, I like this music when I was like 15, but now I'm 18 and I'm emo. Like, I can't stand that music anymore. And it doesn't take that much. And I don't understand why it takes them so long, because the technology is better. The writing, I would assume, is about the same or whatever. Like, I don't know, bro. Like,
sometimes I think they do more with it, but then it doesn't make it better.
Right.
Like
why did it take so long?
Could you make it simpler? Could you put it in less effects? Could you, focus on the story, focus on the characters, and turn it out faster?
Right.
But whatever.
So based on that timeline, that means you don't get, in season 3 was renewed for X-Men 7 or whatever. That based on that, you 2028, 2029, bro.
What would Hutch say?
Yeah. Cross arms. I got to give up red meat myself if I'm going to make it to season 3.
I know. This is the health plan. Just tell them there's always more X-Men coming out. They'll take care of themselves. They're not going to throw it all away as long as there's more X-Men out there.
And I don't know, soapbox now. Then it doesn't make any sense, because when season 1 was happening, they were like, hey, yeah, we're already working on season 2.
I know.
Why wasn't that shit in 2025? It should have been, even if you had to break it up into 2 seasons. Like, how was it taking essentially almost 2.5 years to get to this point for 10 episodes? I got notes. Hey man, let's start with the original X-Men animated series. In 2 seasons, over the course of 92 to 93, 26 episodes in 2 seasons.
Mm.
Spider-Man, 27 episodes. The Fox version, 27. Make it more modern. Oh wait, excuse me. Justice League Unlimited,
Oh yeah.
26. Like they did 13 episodes in 6 months, and then another 13 episodes another 6 months after that. So 26 episodes essentially in a year. And then Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, 52 episodes in 2 seasons. They're gonna give us 20.
Yeah.
Man,
And the animation for X-Men 97 is great, but that's not what appeals to me.
yeah.
Like that's not what makes it. It's the honesty to the characters and storytelling, and I mean those things are more interesting than the effects to me.
That don't take 2.5 years, man.
Mm.
I just that I just think that they probably shortchange themselves and lose fans in this process, no matter
Yeah.
how good the show is.
Do you
Just
think
out
they're
of
trying to drag it out to get to an X-Men movie?
maybe, which still hasn't been announced. Again,
Yeah, I
no red meat, bro. That's it. Got to
know.
be a vegan because I don't know if I got that long left. So man, oh man. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. That's just a soapbox. We'll get back to the real show. All right, man. Amazing X-Men #2. I got a problem with the internet also in Wikipedia. That should be wrong. This shit that says that both of these books came out essentially on the same day, which it's probably that's a probability, right? Like they both,
I mean, it's not
released both books on the
impossible.
same day. Yeah, but they tend to have I mean, at least in my mind's eye, they tend to have staggered the books back
Mhm.
then. Like one every week or every 2 weeks. But I don't know. It
Well,
didn't.
if they did come out on the same day, I bet this one was scheduled to come out on this day, and somebody else's book might have slipped into this day.
Who would be more likely to have had a delayed book, Kubert or Joey Madureira? Boy,
I
that's a
wonder if
tough
he
one.
was chasing battles that month. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. So points to touch on before we get into the specifics. Hey, everybody gonna meet a horseman today, y'all. That's the thing. Whatever the opposite of jungle fever is, Storm got that shit. I don't know what it is called, but yeah, she got it. And then Kubert face, y'all. And then, as we always say, we're going to pick Brother Beavis's big brain here for something because I read something that happened in this book and I could not tell you how or why it happened. So we're going to use your science skills and whatever. All right, here we go.
See what I can come up with.
So the horseman that Greaseman in this is Abyss. They went there. Remember, the Sentinels had turned on them, and then they met up with the Brotherhood, who we could not. Who idea? Yeah, we needed dental records to identify them fools. Like, who the hell are these people? And so we get this battle with Abyss now, with the Brotherhood kind of like in support of him. Abyss sucks. Like, Abyss is a terrible character. It's giving Image, sir.
Yeah, and they like act like he's a big superstar, but I don't know. This is one of those. I guess they thought the graphics look cool, but yeah, I don't know what he does.
Yeah, I don't give it. Yeah, it's
and this was
dead.
just some random kid, like, oh, the world's ending, but the X-Men will come save a random kid, and they do.
Yeah. And they do. Yeah, they're like, hey, well, that kid's over there, so we might as well save him. He replaced Bastion. I'm like, okay. All right, that's ironic, and I guess, yeah, I didn't even. I'm thinking in my mind when I'm reading this, I was like, did Bastion I thought was that already? It happened. I had no idea.
Bastion. Bastion was when we were falling out, so we kind of missed a lot of him.
Got it. Well, he sucks too. All right. So yeah, that's basically where we are. It's Abyss. He sucks. If you think he sucks, like I said, the Brotherhood, we could not identify these fools, man. Like you needed a Google AI and
and some of these were specifically made to be cannon fodder. So
yeah, and so yeah, okay. So if you're on YouTube, Kubert's face is out of control here. Like everybody's got the same face on. Can you tell me what the hell's going on with Banshee's uniform?
Well, No, because well, okay, so I'll give it a shot. So normally he has like the full wings, so he can so he can fly. What
Mhm.
kind of jailbird can't fly? Um, but we could say that if he did match the correct frequency uh, of his now, just like they're not full wings, they
Mm.
just have the little things, then the wavelength of what he was creating might align and positively interfere with his thing, so it'd still create the upward force that's required for him to fly. So
Man.
I'm gonna give it a feasible, but stupid. Because it makes him look like some sort of deep sea creature of some sort.
Yeah,
He's got
and
these ears hanging off.
it gets in the way too during the course of
Yeah, like and what? Look at this pose he's got. Like,
yeah.
look at my sleeves, bitch.
Yeah, and Cougar face all over this one as
Yeah.
well. And you know, it leads into this, you know, a standard comic book fight. But I mean, honestly, like the whole book in and of itself, and I said this before we started, I was like, this book, who cares? Like, no,
Yeah.
like it doesn't really make any sense. It's just, it's filler.
Yeah. The Exodus's headgear, I don't understand that. In
Yeah.
his ponytail. I don't understand. I don't understand Exodus, period.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
maybe that's a different podcast.
And additionally, you know, and there's all these like, oh, you know, he was you know, Exodus love a cult. So he was in
Yeah.
this cult, and then he was
Yep.
saved by Magneto to join this cult. So I mean,
Yep.
yeah, he's definitely easily influenced. So they try to get you that Kool-Aid and them purple pajamas, going after Haley's comic, nigga. Don't do it, because it's a trap. It's a trap. All right. It's okay. So Quicksilver, clearly the leader of this team, even though it's supposed to be shared with Storm, but it's definitely not. He is the leader. During the fight, he gets distracted by the shapeshifter who turns herself into Wanda. Wanda died in X-Men Chronicles 1, y'all. Hey, y'all, X-Men Chronicles 1, some stuff happened.
Yep.
You should go back and read it. Yeah, you should go back and read that, because they reference it in both books, mostly about Wanda here dying. They are able to reconfigure the Sentinels, you know, because Storm strikes them, and the Sentinels don't have surge protectors, brother. Like the lightning just messed up the whole system.
They couldn't afford it, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
how
are you going to charge them? How are you going to charge them if they have surge protectors? You can't.
Yeah. CD-ROMs, no. Surge protectors, also no. Like that.
This is like Battlestar Galactica. They were, you know, they still existed because they didn't have modern protections. But,
yeah,
whatever.
Good grief. This is not a great book, and it only gets worse, y'all. And Kubert face everywhere. I mean, look at Dazzler and look at Scarlet Witch. That is the same person.
She turns into Scarlet Witch. She's like, Dazzler? No, Scarlet Witch. Oh, my bad. Y'all look the same.
It's so bad. Oh my god, man. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That is awful. All right. And so we get to this point where, you know, Banshee's doing a recognizance after, you know, they reconfigured the Sentinels, and he comes across Abyss, and he's like, yeah, I want Magneto's son. And I'm like, wait a minute, which one at this point? You know, because when I first read it, I was just like, wait, does he want, you know, is he the key to this whole? No, he wants like Quicksilver. Oh, okay. And so he's like, I got a kid, you know, inside me or whatever. And Banshee sees that, and they're like, oh my God, no. And so he's got to go confront him. And then Storm's like, I'm going to come with you because you can't go by yourself. That goes against Magneto's rule number 1, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, so he and Storm are going to head off. Again, anything about Abyss make you, like, oh, wow, Abyss. What a crazy villain.
No, they're like, yeah, there's only like 8 of us left, and if we're the only thing that stands between us and Apocalypse, but he's got a kid.
Like, yeah. Like all these burning bodies that they're just charred to shreds here, but we're gonna save this kid who's absolutely no.
What is it? The Bechdel test or whatever? Yeah. I don't think Storm passes the Bechdel test.
No, gosh, man. I passed the brown bag test though. He could definitely bring that one home to Magneto. Look at Banshee's costume, bro. Come on.
Yeah, and they draw it like it's so triumphant. Like, look at it. And are they the V-Men? What's up with the shirt? Come on.
Yeah, it's just not good. I'm sorry, this is not good. The first book was a little bit more promising. This is just straight filler, and
Yeah,
it's very
I
imagey.
I think we remember a lot of the character designs from different
Mm.
characters, not any of these characters.
I think we also remember that it was like, oh, okay, well, it's cool to Sabretooth's on the X-Men. Like I think
Yeah,
we remember those things, like the
yeah,
just a little bit of a twist that not going too crazy. I think that's probably the bigger
right.
memory.
Just a reskinning of existing characters doesn't do a whole lot.
Right. Um.
This is like the X-Men Gold when they had X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold. This is like the X-Men Gold team.
Yeah.
The all non-exciting team.
Yeah. Somehow Storm's always near that team.
Yep.
Um. Yeah.
Because they want to tell you it's the powerhouse team.
Yeah.
It's not.
Because she's an Omega level mutant.
Yeah,
Okay.
in case you haven't heard. So is
Mm.
Iceman, in case you haven't heard.
Yes. So, all right. This is where I asked for your science. I didn't really need it from Banshee's costume.
Oh,
You tell me how
that'd
the
be
hell
too soon.
he defeated Abyss here.
Ow. Well, this
Frip.
he just punches him so much, right?
Is that what it is?
Well,
Frip.
don't they say?
But he's holding like a bit, like parts of him or something.
Does he like vibrate him so fast that he absorbs too much energy or whatever?
Theirs was liquid. I don't know why he keeps fripping, whatever that means.
Yeah,
I was like, was he grabbing like parts of him?
Was he untwisting him so he turns into a ribbon? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I don't know if I can help you on this one. maybe. Okay, so he's like a coiled up spring for the most part. So maybe the fripping was like tightening the coils, and then like he springs back and he bounces into his own face.
You say so. I didn't understand. But also, he's in a Horseman of the Apocalypse, and he gets defeated by
Quicksilver. Yeah.
Word.
Like, and if you've seen the movies, like they've obviously hyperpowered all the speedsters. But that was news to the Marvel Comics world, where you were at risk of getting punched a couple times, and then it's basically as soon as you held out your leg, they would trip over and knock themselves out. So
again, we talked about this before on one of the previous shows about Quicksilver being like a fully emotionally functioning person is really good, as opposed to the completely messed up, emotionally stunted person that they have him in the comic books. And so, to see him like this is actually probably pretty good. At some point in time in the 50, 60 years of Marvel Comics, you would have hoped and thought that we had gotten to this version of the character, but he's still messed up. If you think about, No More Mutants, it's really his fault.
Yeah.
It's not, you never really he's never really matured to the point where it's like, okay, we can trust him with anything. He's just Magneto's daddy issue son. And that's, again, over time at a point, you would think that he would have evolved into either a full on, I guess House of M was a full on villain, but just completely like taking up the mantle with his father or some other version, because it's just, it's not good. Like it's a bad character. Like I know they've stayed around so much with his sister and all that. I understand, but speedsters are not great. Like, they're just not. Who came out first, him or Flash?
Flash I would assume character? Flash. Yeah, I would assume Flash.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I don't know. They're all suck. All right, hold on. My cat's being a cat. All right, so let's move on. All right, so there is much rejoicing because they did stop Abyss and they saved this one child over all of these other people that were burning bodies in the streets here. But they did save him. And, but back in New York, y'all, Apocalypse has found out, and this is Rex. This is that Karma, I believe, is being tortured.
Yeah.
Because Sebastian Shaw sold her out. And like she's being tortured to find out where Xavier or Magneto's home headquarters is, which is in the former Xavier, or what would have been the Xavier's mansion in Westchester, blah, 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 blah. And we're going to get Apocalypse versus Magneto in issue 3. which is kind of weird because these are only 4 issues. You would have think that would have waited to the end, but I guess not. Do you remember that even happening in those books? I kind of do, but I don't.
Well, I mean, isn't Magneto doesn't end this, isn't it? Nate Gray and others.
Nate Gray. Yeah.
So it's the prelim. It's the
Yeah.
I thought we had him, but we didn't. But wait, there's somebody more. I think is the story, but
yeah, I guess. Can't you take a mental picture of Apocalypse here? Just take a mental picture, okay? Because it's gonna come back. I just want you to take a mental picture of that pose and whatever of Apocalypse.
All right, got it.
All right, okay.
Yep.
So that's issue 2, y'all. It was very quick. I mean, there really not a whole lot happened. And if you didn't think a whole lot happened in this book, wait till you get to the next one, y'all. Oh, here it is. I got it in here for you two. So, why are there such differences in between the depictions of Apocalypse in these 2 books? Not just the drawing or whatever, not the Speedo, but
he had to cut for performance on the one on the right. No, he was still building mass.
He's a muhaha villain.
Yeah.
In the next book, where it's a much, and again, considering the character, considering the circumstances, the one on the left, if you're on YouTube, is a much more like the serious version that you would think is in this thing. Like, why do we have laughing Apocalypse here? He also missed leg day too in this one too. But like, why shouldn't there be an editor-in-chief that kind of goes over this? Like, you can't have this duplicity between the characters.
Maybe he was just having a good day. We don't know. Like, he's worked hard for this. Just give it to him.
I was going through these books. I was like, hey man, why is he so happy?
Yeah, he's happy because he's got 6 packs. I'd be happy too.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't understand. Like, that's just like, yeah, it muha ha 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 in that version that we're about to see with Joey Mad. All right, let's jump into Joey Mad's book then. Astonishing X-Men number 2, y'all. It's a great cover, for sure. Where everybody meets a horseman. Remember those topics to focus on. We get Sunfire's back history. Hey man, and Dave Chappelle voice. Who the fuck is Nemesis? And then Sabretooth is the cool heel with a heart of gold as we get into this particular book. So, okay, can you tell me who Nemesis is?
Well, so if you read your X-Men Chronicles 1, you would know that Nemesis, who was under another name by that time, like Nova or something, I don't know, he showed up at Magneto's training facility in Wundagore Mountain the performance center while the rest of the X-Men were gone. And I think it was Jean and Wanda held him off. Wanda saved the children but died because of it. So then Magneto eventually tracked him down for revenge and beat the shit out of him, so he can only now exist in this containment suit. Because he was just like a Superman character. But he now has no body. He's just, his energy is in this containment thing. So yeah. And he became Holocaust.
Yeah.
Or Nemesis, I'm sorry. No, wait. No, he's Holocaust now. Yeah, he was Nemesis. That was his name. And he was just like a Superman dude. And then Magneto beat him into his containment shell. That's your X-Men Chronicles.
Got it. Yes. Yipes. All right. Again, this is like Image 2 beta. There's just a whole bunch of big old slides. And again, it's Joey Mad, y'all. Like, I mean, you come for this. But again, as I think we said it in the last book too, and again, I think as we go through some of these books, we're going to see, like, man, like, you can tell when he's invested, and you can tell when he's like, would y'all get the damn book out? Damn, it's already late. You know what I mean? Like, he's like really under the thumb, because when he's not, like, he really, it's so much better. So there's another culling this time in, what is it, Chicago? So they've been dispatched by Magneto to go out there to stop Holocaust. Rogue is the leader of this team, and I keep putting Sunspot in there. Sunfire winds up, his PTSD gets activated, seeing all of these people, being abused and tortured and all that. And, he kind of loses control of his ability to control himself, which again is in line with the character, even though he's in the containment suit, which we'll find out why now too. But like, it's at least in line with the character. I've always actually liked this version much better. Not the character maybe itself, but the design is much better than the dude in the red pajamas.
Oh yeah, like I thought his original design was cool, but this is, I think, one of the best redesigns in Age of Apocalypse so far.
I thought it was really cool. And again, his backstory actually makes a little bit of sense too as we get into that now. But like I thought that, because I never really cared for the character at all. But this at least gave him something. And so with him being out of control, Rogue has to make him not out of control. And so she goes in and takes his power and absorbs like all of his hurt and pain. And she sees how he wound up in this particular suit. He was fighting off against them and Nemesis. Now, again, if you're on YouTube, you see this. Why does Nemesis look like
Sabretooth?
Sabretooth.
Yeah, so that he was just a regular dude. Maybe that's why Sabretooth doesn't like him, because he took his ponytail. But he was a regular guy. And then he got,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, then he got.
Yeah. And he, Sunfire, winds up, running afoul of Apocalypse. He drowns him, or attempts to drown him in the blood of all of these people that are around in his home. I think this is in his home country too.
Yeah.
And he, that's what winds up forcing him into the suit. I mean, like that page there, if you're on YouTube, like that is good Joey Mad right there. Like even both pages, like the thing with Apocalypse standing over him or pushing him into the water, like that. This is him at his finest. That opening page where those people running around, that was not it. But this is really good. And again, like, oh, that's an actual decent backstory for a character that kind of stays within line of who he is in the regular timeline. Yeah, but I enjoyed that part of it. But then back at the mansion, y'all, Magneto has set all of his team and all of his acolytes essentially out there to get their MacGuffin so they can change this world. And Bishop calls him out. Bishop is kind of a dick. Oh, what you in here with your kid? Like what? Like seriously? Like what are you doing? Like there you are. I think he's like, there you are. Like,
yeah,
sitting in a dark.
I know you'd be up in here trying to be a daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Can I put my kid to bed, Bishop? Damn. Yeah. Like seriously, bro. Like I mean, my kid is in here asleep, and he's like, "Oh, my bad." Yeah, and he essentially tells him, he's like, "Hey, man, if what you said is true, and we said everything right, I got to lose my kid." Like, that's
just so I can go back to beating your ass.
Exactly. But I thought you remember. I don't remember nothing, boy. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So but okay. So here's the difference of X-Men, the animated series, and then X-Men 97. In X-Men 97, they would have given this a little bit of time to breathe. You know what I mean? Like as a cartoon. And that's where it's, I think, the difference, but not 2.5 years worth of difference of like, oh yeah, well that happened. All right, move on to the next action scene or whatever. Like this is like, there's an emotional story there that could be told in maybe another book or 25 pages instead of 22, but they're not going to give us that. There's something there that you could have built to make this more memorable, but they're not going to give us that. But they're going to give us 10 pages of something.
But they gave us the entire Inferno story in one episode of X-Men 97, so don't give them too much credit for pauses.
Yeah, but I just think that like as a book, as a comic book, I think they would have they missed an opportunity here to kind of make Magneto even more human, air quotations.
Yeah, are they getting him over as a baby face?
Right.
This was a move for that, but does it work? Like, did it?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like AEW build up for because they're doing the main event next issue. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you also wonder too, because I don't know, did Magneto's baby from this timeline wind up in our regular timeline? Like you abandoned, pulling essentially a cable, like because
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like I doubt it. I hadn't heard anything about it, but I wouldn't, because they've done like at least one
I
other
was.
Age of Apocalypse since then.
I'm thinking if they didn't, then that's a missed opportunity. It feels like we'll get it at some point. Like,
Yeah,
because Charles is a dick now, and
yeah,
well, he's always a dick, but Charles like
and
the bad guy in the main continuity. Like, we need to go get Alter Age of Apocalypse Charles, or let him grow up to his full potential.
yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah,
that
yeah. Let's
that
just replace him.
totally sounds like a story that somebody
Mm.
would want to.
Yeah, copyright trademark. Yeah. Bishop just being like a dick is just kind of on par at this
Yeah,
point, and
yeah.
he's not a good character. I know, like, oh, well, he's black, so and
He needs to
he's a
go find
dick,
some militia you can join.
right? Yeah, exactly. Like he's just like he is as straightforward in black and white and sees no grays as any character that they've ever introduced in these books and in the cartoons as well. He just does it like. Again, talk about people that didn't have a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a lot of growth even over the course of this time there, other than, cutting off his Jerry curl mullet. But he, as a character, man, Bishop just doesn't grow. He's just stuck in his ways, which is kind of sucks. All right. Previously,
This is not like we've seen Apocalypse is calculating and merciless ways get us to this point.
Yeah.
He's firing off, killing people around him, like he's slobbering, like he can't get his mouth open big enough. He's intimidating everybody around him, and this is you're right. Not just the drawing, but this is a different characterization.
Yes. Also, bad Joey Mad too. Like, like this is a bad version of him. This feels very like, and again, I don't understand how there's not an editor that's just like, dude, you can't have him doing whatever fucking pose this is. This ain't it. Like what we just saw in the previous book, like keep it more serious, like, yes, I am very happy that I am going to go in and destroy these people, but not with that face. Like, oh, I'm so happy.
This is like they gave him, somebody had the dialogue and somebody had the art, and they just were on different. They just had a different idea of what the story was.
AI generated.
This is like,
hey,
this is like when Byrne gave the art and Claremont wrote a story that pissed him off. This is like that was not what I was saying when I drew these pictures.
That's just something else. Yeah, and then Rex. Did we figure out who Rex is?
I think Rex is he's a red shirt only in the Age of Apocalypse, as far as I know.
Yeah, like a morph-like character created for this mess. Okay, so before we get into the last part of this, do we want to talk about a Holocaust character that's in charge of culling and killing millions of people? We want to talk about the insensitive potentially in that particular move.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just
and particularly like they're drawing heavily on Hiroshima. Like you've got the Japanese character who's fallen to the nuclear menace. You're already pulling all of that in, but then you're giving it a name to to the Holocaust as well. Yeah, that's he was just Nemesis at the time. Then he became Holocaust.
Right.
Yeah, probably not a good move.
Yeah, he was like, Poland's not enough. I need to keep going here. And I just was like, where's the editor in chief here too?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, you know what? That's probably not a good idea. Now, the question would become, now again, this is us 2025 eyes too, but also the question would be, did they just not get it? Like, hey, that's probably not a good idea based on what he's actually doing. Or like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And, see the character design and run with it. Like, there's the difference. You would like to think that this would not get past, like if they rebooted Age of Apocalypse Part 3.
Yeah.
And he made a comeback.
He might get a new name.
He would be. Yeah, he might get a new name. He might be Nemesis or somebody else. I just can't imagine.
I've gone back to my roots. Don't call me that name anymore.
Yeah,
Still Nemesis.
Yeah, I'm Ice now. Exactly. Let's give him another name that'll really piss people off too. All right. Let me get out of here before I get us fired. All right. Comic book fight, y'all, and some Woody Allen mentoring here. Yeah. So Sabretooth's plan is to go confront Holocaust, which used to be, I guess, his buddy when they were working for Apocalypse.
They were,
yeah. So he's gonna go back and take care of him. Take out Holocaust, but knowing that he might not come back from this battle because he can't defeat Holocaust. And so he wants Blink to blink him to wherever Holocaust is so they can have this fight. All right. That sounds kind of okay. But so what are we calling Blink? 16, 17, something to that effect. Yeah. That'd be fair.
If that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is not giving father-daughter. It's giving, I mean, just look again, if you reading this book or looking on YouTube, the touching of the hands, like it's way more tender than that should be. Again, 2025 eyes, but it's given ick, sir.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think as interesting as the idea as Sabretooth joining this team, like, isn't this every Wolverine speech ever?
Yeah.
Like, isn't he just Wolverine? Like, couldn't this be Wolverine and Jubilee?
Right.
And be the exact same thing?
And Kitty Pryde. I mean, and again, you have to really wonder, like, yeah, Storm did mentor Kitty, but when she became whatever, it was really always with Wolverine. Mm-hmm. We got the same thing with Jubilee, as well. Like, that's where I don't understand where that comes from. Like, you couldn't have like one of the stronger, more experienced female characters mentor this young girl?
Yeah.
Because that would make more sense. But we have to create this weird, power dynamic when you have these two characters. You look at my notes and was like, yeah, in a previous relationship and him grooming, scratch out, rescuing her. Because he rescued her. And now we have this weirdly
now she's indebted to him.
Yeah. Oh boy, yikes on bikes. Like and again, it's like it's a continual thing over the course of the X-Men for many, many years. So with different characters, and it's just weird, just a little weird. Again, we're looking at it from a different set of eyes, but it's still kind of weird. But Rogue don't want that, y'all. Like, you're not gonna go out there and get yourself killed and blah 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 blah. And then blinks her like out of I don't know what she just blinked her and knocked her out cold so she could blink him out to go have this fight. Now I said to y'all, hey, they could have like probably a decent story in there where they could talk about Magneto's conflicted feelings and this and that about losing his son, this world, blah 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 blah. Or they could give you 10 pages of comic book fight. And that's what they get.
I was just noticing that. Yep.
Fight forever.
And these are not Claremont pages either. Like,
no, there's hardly any words. Yeah, this is just Go out there and give me 10 minutes and go home. My note is on here. Like, at some point, go home, man. How many more moves can you do? Like, go home, get to the finish. Y'all are kicking out of everything. And boy, oh boy. Just 10 pages of between the two of them. And it means nothing. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it just is like you had the opportunity to tell much more of a story. This could have been told in 5 pages, not 10.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't it doesn't really conclusion.
No. And they're not going to kill Sabretooth either. Like, I hope you read this back then. There was no chance he was dying. Like, I mean, come on. Like, they're not going to kill Sabretooth. He's one of the most popular characters and getting a babyface push. And they're not going to kill him. And then when he does get into the end of the battle with Holocaust, he thinks he takes his head off, but he's just pure energy and his head just pops back on. And then that, it's like, oh, that's it, and then see you next week. We got to get out of here.
We gotta
and
go.
to the next, and we got to get to the next issue. But I mean, just again, I said this give an image, man. Like this is like, man, we're just gonna fight. Nobody's gonna really talk. You know, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, and again, this book way more enjoyable than the other one because probably the art is much better. But for the most part, I mean, what happened? This is not a two shit book, sir.
I mean, other than Rex, we could identify everybody in here. So
yeah,
that's a plus.
Yeah, that definitely does help. So, what do you think of both books over the course of the evening here? We got
I guess I'm looking forward to season 4s where the stories maybe start to come together, or we get to start to march toward the conclusion.
Is there an X-Men Chronicles 2? Electric Boogaloo.
There is X-Men. I believe there's like, yeah, there is, because there's the story of the first one. I think is mostly a story of like leading up to the formation of the X-Men and Wanda's death, and then you get the fallout with Gambit and Rogue. That's I think in X-Men Chronicles 2, if I remember correctly.
I vaguely remember that, but I'd have to go back and read it. So, okay. But yeah, so we'll be back at a more reasonable time. We're going to take a month off here. Like, we'll be back on a much more reasonable schedule. Holidays, actually, we're like, oh, that's probably going to be busy. Not really. Like, I got a lot going on. We can, stack episodes. But first, y'all, and I said it, there's always a topic that I don't give them at all.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to bail on that.
But wait, there's more. So the Horsemen of the Apocalypse are awful. Now, in the previous episode or the leading up to it, we talked about what was our best 4 horsemen team, which group of horsemen that you wanted, you thought was the best, from the original group to the Wyndham group to the Luger group, when the Wyndham group is the one that's in the Hall of Fame or whatever. Like, okay, everybody's got their best horseman group. But the Horsemen existed for a very long time after they were good. And they just kept trying to reboot them over time, essentially being like Flair, Arn, and 2 other dudes. And those 2 other dudes over the course of time have been maybe not great. So we're going to create our worst horsemen. 4 people that would have been put into the Horsemen, not necessarily with Tully or with Arn and Rick Flair. So who would be? If you have to be on YouTube here, not be able to see it even. Maybe if I make this bigger for you to see too. I don't know if that helped.
No, I got it. I got to see it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. And you can jump in or whatever. I'm going to put, even though he's a good wrestler, I'm going to put Sting on my list of worst horsemen because he should have never been in it. Like adding or making Sting a horseman is a bad idea. So I'm going to adding to it.
Yeah, he popped out for me as well because he just doesn't fit. And that was more of an angle than anything. In the theme of like not a bad wrestler, but I think also I'm trying to remember what was going on at this time, but if you put Jeff Jarrett in the 4 Horsemen, aren't you just putting another Ric Flair or Ric Flair wannabe? So I'm gonna put Jeff Jarrett as
okay. I got you.
I would almost put Kurt Hennig in the same boat, but he was only in it for 2 weeks. It's more of an angle. Like honorable mention on my Jeff Jarrett pitch for Kurt Hennig, but like that doesn't add anything. So I'll go Jeff Jarrett.
Okay. Obviously Luger and Wyndham are like whatever. Sid is too. Sid was a fine horseman, so I have no problems there. Paul Roma, who is the person that gets brought up the most, straight out of his days and Power and Glory with Hercules Hernandez when he comes back to WCW, had no business being a horseman, couldn't talk, was short. Just nothing about him screamed horseman other than the fact that he was kind of jacked. So Paul Roma has to go on that list as one of the worst for sure.
Yeah, as much as I would like to not agree because it feels like he's suffered enough for that. Yeah, I feel like you can't make like you can say he's not the worst horseman of all time. Like maybe make that argument, But if you're giving like a bottom any number, leaving Paul Roma out of it feels like a mistake. So yeah,
Right.
sorry, Mr. Roma.
Yeah,
I was
sorry.
inclined to I started from the top of the list, so I would have also considered Sid Vicious, but like because he's just so worthless. I think again quite a fit, but
Yeah.
like the best Sid Vicious as a horseman is probably as good as the worst Lex Luger in in the Horseman. So I'll leave him. And terrible tragedy of what happened. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Steve McMichael
Yeah.
should have never been in the
Yeah.
four
Steve
horsemen.
McMichael. Yeah.
He was not excellent aspect of professional wrestling.
No,
So
he couldn't wrestle. He couldn't talk. He yeah, we won't. Yeah, he was not a good wrestler. Yeah, R.I.P. for sure, but not a good wrestler, not a good talker. I don't know if he had stock in WCW or something, but like to give him that position it felt very unearned. Obviously, we would never put Benoit.
And Benoit and Malenko are I mean, Benoit and Malenko are interesting. Neither of them could talk. So it was an era where they were essentially stooges for the Horsemen, but they definitely had it in the ring. So as long as you had Flair and Arn as the mouthpiece, they were okay.
Yeah.
When you lost, I think they lost for Steve McMichael, then it was a problem because they let him talk. He wasn't good at it, but he talked a lot.
Bro, yeah, he was so bad. I can't imagine why that happened.
So Sting, Jarrett, Paul Roma, Steve McMichael. I think that's my bottom four.
And Kurt Hennig or Roma, sorry.
Now honorable. Yep, Roma. Yeah, Kurt Hennig gets honorable mention, but it's essentially the same boat as for Jeff Jarrett, and he was in 3 weeks. So I think you're almost blowing a spot if you're on somebody who was on the team for 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think Pillman could be on the worst either, even though it probably wasn't a great time for him to be on there. This is in a pre-Nitro era, I believe.
I mean, at one time you had Rick, Arn, Pillman, and Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting group. But you still have, Benoit still couldn't talk. So
that. I mean, I just thought about this. Like I said, because one, these are terrible Horsemen of the Apocalypse, absolutely just garbage. And then two, I was like, you know what, the Horsemen kind of were garbage after like 1987, 88 themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like once Tully didn't come back to WCW, then you were really chasing that crack pipe, and they just chased it and chased it. I was like, man, they were freaking feuding with the NWO. Like these dudes were super.
They would have been better off
not over.
They would have been better off just to have them do whatever they were doing and then cross pass.
Yeah, I kind of. I mean,
the Nitro we watched. What Arn came back and had beef there, right? We didn't.
There was one of those before. Yeah, and then they in freaking the Nash shit on the freaking whole group there too.
Yeah,
the dog spot thing. They just absolutely killed it, and that was pretty shitty too. Now that now you get my blood boiling. So, and I'm generally a Kevin Nash supporter. That was beyond unnecessary at the time. So, all right. But that's it, y'all. Look at that. 58-39, Brother Beavis. We went through 2 books, had 2 off-topic topics, and like right in under an hour, man. So we'll be back.
We clock in, we do work. What else do you want?
Right. SoundCloud, I don't even know where this thing is located. Just go to YouTube, y'all. It's pretty much what we're headed to at this particular point. I know you don't do it. I've been like a convert to YouTube, man. I just, I don't know why.
If you could put it on, listen to it, and lock the phone, I'd be there. But as soon as it goes off, that's not how I consume media.
You got to.
You got time to sit around and stare at a screen.
Yeah,
like a screenager.
Pay for YouTube Premium, and I don't do that either. I just be walking around and touching my phone every 30 seconds, like, no, don't go to sleep.
Trying to get that bump.
Exactly. So, but that's it, y'all. So we'll be back. Like, subscribe, and all of those types of things. If you're on the podcast side, you'll hear the X-Men animated music playing us out. I'm going to sign off. Brother Beavis, sign off.
See you in less than a month.
Yeah, definitely less than a month, y'all. We'll see you on the other side. Might be another different podcast, but we'll definitely not be in a month. Peace, everybody.
Later.